Welcome to Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. V, and this is In Depth, where we dig deep in the trenches of what matters. And we are also coming to the end of Women's History Month.
Yes.
So sad. Now listen, like we say about Black History Month, just keep it going.
Keep it going, always.
Listen, we need to celebrate women all year.
All day,
every day. That's right.
Every day. Yes.
So some people say it's coming to an end. I say it never ends.
No.
Is that right?
Never,
yes.
ever.
Okay.
Because every day is a day to make history or be something in the world. So let's keep it going.
And I mean, with the number of women in the world, come on.
Yeah.
We could celebrate a woman every day.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot of us.
Yes. So anyway, so let's get into some conversation. You know how fast time flies. And so one of the questions I have for us before we actually get into successful women, what is success? Period. Because to me, when you say that, I mean, I'm sure there's women out there that feel successful,
right, that
we may not put in the category of successful women. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I want to talk about. What is success and what does that look like to you, Clarence, as a man, and then Jill, we can speak to that.
Well, success is where you are at a point where you have accomplished something, either personal or political. It's just something that you've accomplished. It doesn't have to always be riches. It doesn't always have to be fame. You could be a teacher in a classroom, but you see kids graduate every year. You feel successful in that endeavor. You could be a kindergarten teacher and watch a child go through. So that's successful. You could be a doctor, and you healed somebody or helped somebody heal. That's success. Or you could just be a mother.
That's right.
And you raised a family. None of your children got in trouble. And those that did, they got back on the right track. That's success. So you define your own success.
And even though you said, or you could just be a mother. I'm just saying, I know you didn't mean it like
yes,
that.
Right.
But I just want to say, because sometimes people feel like I'm just a mom.
Yes.
And so just wanted to point that out. And I love that you made it clear on so many different levels. So Jill, obviously being a mom, would you say you're a success?
That was such a good answer. I don't even feel like I have to answer that.
Yeah.
So I think, as Clarence stated, a lot of people would think that they are successful, but haven't really made a true impact on people. So a lot of people who are successful in riches and monies are at the top of the list in so many things. The people profiting all of the money from the oil, while we're in this energy crisis, probably think they're successful. But I don't look at someone as being successful unless they have made an impact on someone. And I feel like, that was a great way to bring out the conversation, because I feel like who we are mentioning tonight may not have been successful in riches, but they've made an impact. So that is how I view success personally.
I like when you say impact, or you made an impact, or they made an impact. For me, I agree with everything that you guys said, but if I start to look at myself and then I ask that question, sometimes if you don't hit your goals, the goals that you said, whether they're short-term or long-term goals, you can begin to say, man, I failed.
Right.
And so therefore I'm not successful. And so when I'm thinking success, it could come in different seasons.
Yes,
so
true.
Different times, so I could feel success all over me at this time, let's just say 3-4 years ago.
Right.
And then you hit a certain point in your life and then you feel like, man, I'm just going backwards here. And so that's why I'm thinking that's something that needs to be refreshed every day. How you look at your own life. Yeah.
For sure.
When it comes to success.
And when you say that, Doc V, let's celebrate our successful woman on this panel. You've been in business for how long? You're successful. And I understand there's been struggles. I understand that there have been times that, like you say, it may not have seemed like you reached that goal that you wanted, or it took you a little longer to reach that goal. Success is not a time thing either. It doesn't have a deadline. It doesn't have a expiration date. Success comes when it comes. And I was talking to a young man. I know we're talking about women, but I was talking to a young man. and people was knocking him for the things that he didn't do, but he had done a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, you have to define your own success.
That's right.
Because if you live by the success of other people, you're never going to measure up.
Exactly.
You're never going to
Never.
measure up. But
Yeah.
and I hear you talk about struggles and things that you wish were different.
Yes.
But if they were different, they wouldn't have the success story that you could tell. So we want to
Absolutely.
celebrate you as
Well-
being a successful business person in our community
Well,
for
thank
20
you.
plus years.
And
Thank
I
you.
think that that's very important too, because something that we don't talk about on a personal level, as far as you personally, is how hard it is not to just start a business, but to, withstand everything that gets thrown at you on a what's the word I'm looking for? Underdeveloped,
Okay.
not invested in community, because a lot of people would have picked up and moved somewhere else right now.
That's right.
So I absolutely agree. And as with anything else we work at, a diet, workout, we plateau. But
Yes.
just because we feel like we're plateauing, there's still somebody over here who says, hey, guess what so-and-so said to me the other day? She really made me feel good. So plateau, I think that that's absolutely normal. But
Yes. Yes. And so as we're talking about successful women, I do want to make sure we mention that there are tons of successful women right in our community.
Right.
And, if you guys want to toss out some names, we can do that. We have had some even on our panel.
Yeah, Amber, 2 weeks ago? We had her on there twice.
Yes, yes.
E&J Option.
That's right.
Ms.
Dee
Delois?
McKinley. And so there's tons. And I would say Tara Brantley. I definitely want to mention Tara Brantley. I used to watch her all the time on a certain channel. I'm not going to say a name. I know she's back. But so Tara Brantley would be one for me. Shirley Woods, the Ewell Wilson Center.
Yeah, and
Sure.
we just had one that is part of our ONV family. We had Marsha Linsky.
Yes.
She's been successful in
Marsha.
the legal field for a long time, and she had a guest last night, which was Judge. Why is her name slipping me?
Gall.
Judge Fran Gall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judge Fran Gall, and has been successful, and she told her success story. I mean, throughout, think of it, Tiffany Gooden, she's from here.
Absolutely.
She's an attorney now. She's doing big things. So there's a lot of successful women that
Tons
have
and
come through Fort Wayne.
Someone
Yes.
told me, because I wasn't born and raised here, so someone was telling me the story the other day of Miss Virginia.
Miss
And
Virginia.
obviously,
Miss Virginia.
I had never heard that story because I'm not from the area, but as they were telling it, I thought that, she kind of sounded like she was bringing a lot of success to the community with the things that she was doing. So that's
Yes.
somebody that comes to mind because it's a recent story that I heard of that I didn't know.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful
Yeah.
spirit.
Yes.
Yes,
She was a
absolutely.
wonderful woman.
And so, so to leave our community just a little bit, we will be talking about different celebrities too. And I'll tell you who I'll always come to mind when you think success. And this is for a lot of people. Oprah name is gonna
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
is always gonna pop up.
Oh, yeah.
Beyonce name is always gonna pop up.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about, for me, I don't know if y'all know Sarah Blakely,
I've heard the name.
but let me tell you, you've seen her recently on the Shark Tank,
Okay.
and she's actually the founder of Spanx.
Oh,
Praise
yes.
God.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Praise God.
Well, bless her right now.
Take up an offering right there.
right.
So I just want to talk about her just for a moment because praise God, she had an issue. She had a situation come up, and old girl was trying to wear some white slacks, and she was trying to make sure she didn't see those lines, those print,
Yeah.
from her underwear.
Yeah.
Ladies,
I feel that.
Do you feel
listen,
that?
ladies, can we talk to the ladies? Now, while I'm saying that, there's some men that need to watch their undergarment prints.
Yeah.
Why didn't we
But wait,
invent Spanx forever ago?
But guess what? She actually has Spanx for men. So just to give a little history, self-made,
Yes.
billionaire. She had $5,000 she could start a company with, but it was going through that issue is what changed the game. And
Right.
think about how easy that is for us, because I know I've had I've had some issues come up, and you think, man, if I just had XYZ. Well,
Right.
she didn't just think about it. She decided I need to do something. Not to mention, you know, she selling fax machines, so she was already in sales. I mean, things just kind of worked out. So here she is doing that, and then she goes right into, I got to fix my own problem. And there's a lot of stuff she did to make it happen and wear them white pants that day, but it turned into the Spanx.
Right.
Did she launch that off of Shark Tank?
No, she
No.
actually, and it's a funny story. When you mentioned that name and you started telling the story, I actually saw her in an interview maybe a year or so ago. And, you know, her success came from a need. And some our success comes from a need that we need to fill. It's not what we think that everybody else has. It's a need that we have to fill.
Right.
And her success came from that particular need. And she was in sales, and she tried all these different kind of fabrics. She tried everything. She could not figure out, you know, the regular spandex. It would wear and it would break down after a
Yes.
time, and she was going through that. So she kept going and she kept going, and she had been turned down hundreds of times.
Yes.
Loans were denied. There was a whole lot, but she didn't give up, and that brings into success too. But she finally found a formula, and she started actually on QVC with one of the
that's
other.
right.
The other is her name, Lori.
What you doing looking Sarah up like that?
I remember the interview.
Oh, no,
is it
you
the
live-
other
you was
lady's
lifting.
name?
Let me see what you,
You
got,
got a
on.
whole
Let me see.
birth certificate on
You've been
Spanx.
looking slim lately. Let me,
No. But I mean, isn't it Lori, the other lady from QVC, and that's how she started, and that's how she grew.
Okay, that's right. And so now she has her headquarters in Atlanta. So she's doing awesome. So I'll say I'm really proud of Sarah.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
Interesting.
Yes, $1 billion woman.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
That's interesting. Man, and
I had no idea.
You really.
No, I didn't.
But you know what? And so just you saying that, watch how bold she was. I mean, some women would be offended, right? You send them a garment like that.
Yeah.
What you trying to say? But so she sent it to Oprah, and Oprah fell in love.
I bet.
Yeah, and you know the rest is history.
Even
So-
women who are, I mean, even before children, before a child, when I was super tiny, there were still things that, like when you put a certain dress on or there were still things that, I mean, I'd look in the mirror and be like, man, I wish there was someplace I could just put this, you know? So, Clarence, keep laughing.
Yes. So Clarence, who's one of your good old girls on your list?
Well, one of mine is, and it's we talk about defining success, and it's not always in riches. But this young lady has used her riches and her success to change lives all over the world, and that's successful. And that's Mackenzie Scott.
Mackenzie Scott.
Mackenzie Scott.
Married to someone.
Jeff Bezos.
Oh, okay.
She was married to Jeff Bezos for
Oh.
25 years.
Okay.
One of the co-founders of, because she was married to him while it happened. She was co-founder of Amazon, which is one of the number one companies in America. But, a couple of years ago, Jeff Bezos went through a divorce.
Right.
She received a huge divorce settlement, in the hundreds of billions of dollars. It's not that, but she didn't sit on that money. She didn't think that, okay, this is just for me. What I like about her, and why I'm talking about her and her success, because I love and I'm a proud HBCU product, so I always talk about HBCUs. But she has used her money to fund and donate to HBCUs in education all through Texas and all over the world. She has taken her money. She realized that her success is not just financial. And her success depends on the future, and that's what she says, the future of the world. So she's taken her money, not all of it, but, a good portion of it, and she began to donate money to schools and programs that would help build education and fund education for children all throughout the country.
I love that.
Where she could have just been, it's about me, but,
Absolutely.
she changed her mind and she decided to be able to, become one of the greatest philanthropists in the country right now because she has the money to do that.
And
Right. That's good, Joe.
I think
What you was gonna say?
one thing when you say it like that is a lot of people will say, if I ever won this or had this much money, I would give it to XYZ. But how often does that really happen?
Right.
And then to
Right.
have someone truly do that when you were with one of the, I mean, he's like I don't even know what you would what you would call him, an alien at this point or whatever he was. But
he was. I think he's now the fourth richest man in the world.
I mean, she
Wow.
could have, like you said, been set for life on top of life on top of and just. I mean, she still will be probably no matter how much she gives away.
Right.
But
Exactly.
she
And
didn't
then-
have to do that. It's
And
awesome.
then that's good. And I'm glad you mentioned that as far as the charity, because a lot of times when people do get this money, like you said, they sit on
Yeah.
it and, you know, so, or family, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things too that stood out as far as Sarah. She partnered with Bill Gates and that foundation. He was doing the Giving Pledge,
Mm-hmm.
and also Warren Buffett, where they made a promise to give away half of their income.
Yeah.
To, you know, who does that?
Well,
That's
Seriously,
that's
who does
that?
awesome.
Warren Buffett can give away half his income and still be great.
I know that's beautiful.
But there's a lot of people that no matter how much money they have, half of your income is still half of your income, and that's still a crazy amount of money. And
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and insane. And sometimes I don't want to say get envious of people that have
I
that
do.
much money, but it would be a lie to really say that you didn't look at their life and just be like, wow. But then to hear stuff like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
that's quite amazing.
Yes, you are listening to Neutral Voices. This is In Depth, and we are having an amazing conversation about successful women.
So one of the women that I ran across, this young lady is 24 years old, which is super young. In this context, we're going to speak about anyways, but how she speaks on her passion for many things. Climate change is one of those things, but how she does that is through poetry. And I love writing. I love poetry. So she kind of caught my attention. I'm probably going to mispronounce her name. In fact, I don't even know if I want to. Let's see.
Go for it.
I don't even know what her name is. Apparently, I don't even know her name.
Really, Jill?
No, I haven't.
Really, Jill?
But I did lose it for a second. Aisha Siddiqa, possibly.
Sounds good.
I apologize if
Isn't
that's
she
not
the
correct.
West Indian? Not
So
West
yeah,
Indian, East
she
Indian.
is a 24-year-old Pakistani.
East Indian. Yeah.
Yes, so she is a human rights activist, amongst many other things, a defender of our climate, and that is something that she is big on at 24 years old. So when she was younger, I think it said, 14, she actually witnessed many deaths and illnesses, her grandparents included, because the water in their rivers, she had said you were risking your life to drink out of the rivers. So she became passionate about that because she didn't understand, and even there are places still not far from us that, are dealing with not having clean drinking water. But this became a passion of hers. So she really got involved in the climate, thinking that clean air and clean water should be something that we are just by nature afforded, which I agree. So she also expresses deep disappointment with what our leaders have done in terms of making sure that we had clean air and clean water. She's well known, like I said, for speaking on these things in poetry, making them, I don't want to say, sometimes people won't listen to you, especially if you are younger. Mm-hmm. So I think she was maybe thinking that if she put it in something, that was poetic,
right,
that maybe it would gain some attention. And obviously it did, because Time Magazine actually highlighted her as one of the, most important women or influential women.
Yes.
Another thing also is she goes and gets involved in protests and also uses her poetry. She speaks on not being a fan of any type of violence to get the message across. So I thought that was very interesting. And there was actually a quote or like a passage I wanted to read from one of her protests. And she said, "I was raised with the idea that the earth is a living being, that she gives life to you, and in turn, you have a duty, you have a responsibility collectively. We have come to a point in our lives where we are ignoring the cries of Mother Earth." So yes, that is 24-year-old rights activist, human rights and defender of our climate, Aisha Stidika.
Beautiful. So you
Yeah.
did a good job
Great job.
pronouncing that name.
Great
I
job.
don't know
Once
if
you
it
found
looks close.
Once you found it,
Once
you
I
got
found
it. Yeah,
it.
you got it right.
Yes. Okay, Clarence. Who's your other giant?
Well, I'm going to go with one that's a lesser known, but she has become successful. She's worked hard in her field. And Doc V, you mentioned this earlier, but I wish we had a visual for her, but you can go look her up. Her name is Cassandra Brown Duckett. She is CEO and president of TIAA, which is a financial institution that is an retirement investment firm for educators, people in academia, research, medical, and government employees. This young lady has worked hard in her field, been in her field for numerous of years, and she is one of 2 black women that are right now the head of Fortune 500 companies. She is she's doing her thing, and her thing is she has changed the scope and the culture and the understanding. And we've been talking about financial literacy and things like that. Her mission is to, you've been in your job X amount of years. Mm-hmm. You don't worry about your retirement. It goes into a fund as you think, so it goes there, it builds money. You ain't got to worry about it until you need it. Mm-hmm. She's trying to change the culture of you just putting that money there. She wants you to understand how the money is being invested, how it can grow, how it can do. And think about it, the average teacher, the average government employee, 9 times out of 10, they're making substantial, but they're not making hand over fist. So at one point in time, when they do retire, they're going to need more. So her goal is to make sure, especially in the black and brown community, because there's a lot of educators, government workers and everything, that you understand how to work your retirement, that it won't be just, you just get a few dollars here and there, that you'll understand how to stretch your retirement and be able to make money and understand what retirement is.
That's good. That's definitely necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talking about fixing things with Spanx. We definitely need to be educated when it comes to our retirement.
Right.
Because I know, just like paying taxes, at some point people don't know. If you keep waiting with the interest rates going up, as time, you're going to be paying more taxes if you keep extending it out.
Yeah.
So if you're getting ready to retire, you might want to start paying those taxes now while the interest rate is down. So that's awesome.
And then you figure out what, because the market is, it's up and down. You figure out what's sustainable, what you can invest in. And like I say, just making sure our community, and that's commendable that, and as we talk success, sometimes success drives us away from the things that we've grown to accustomed to. So for her to look back and say, I'm going to make sure people know how to do this, and that's what she's doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, so another one, I'll say one of my champions, I have always loved Angela Bassett. Mm-hmm. I mean, that when you talk about class.
You talking about Tina Turner, right?
I'm just Tina Turner.
You talking about Malcolm X, right?
Any movie, even when she played in, what was it? Her first debut was, what was the movie back in? And she was Trey with the Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood. She was Trey's mom. She was Trey's mom. Yes. And so she's been dynamic ever since. And then so when she came on the scene, and we talking about Wakanda, Wakanda forever. And what did she say? Okay, y'all, I'm getting ready to step into my role.
Go ahead, Doc.
Oh, heavens.
See, y'all messed me up. I was getting ready to get it when she was I am the queen of Wakanda. Awesome. Yes. And why didn't she get the Oscar? That's another show. I'm still mad about it. Yeah. But Angela Bassett, when I'm talking about class, the epitome of ladiness, femininity. But boy, when she was in What Love Got to Do with It, no, I'm just kidding. I was getting ready to say she had to box old Ike. But Angela Bassett, she has been nominated for Oscars and did not win, neither one. But this is what got me out of all of the movies, powerful movies, and you know how she acted, and What Love Got to Do with It. She should have won it for that. And think about it. I'm just saying all the stuff. all of the things she had to do as far as the talking like and the gestures and the dancing and the just everything she had to put into that part. So I thought it was really sickening that was way back 29 years ago.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you didn't nominate her for an Oscar
Nothing.
until 30 years later almost?
Yeah.
Something's wrong with this picture, America.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with this picture. But I've seen her. I mean, she has won her share of different awards, but I've seen her in many interviews. I'm telling you, and she always speaks nice. She's, always on point. But one of the things that she said, so I want to, give this message to ladies because I love this. Mm-hmm. She said, oh, by the way, she did lose that last Oscar to Jamie Lee Curtis. I just have to say that I do love Jamie Lee, too.
Yeah.
She gets down.
That was her first one, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, she gets down. So,
She
it
does.
was just kind of one of those things you were torn.
Yeah.
But I did want to see that happen for Angela. But she said this is so beautiful. First of all, she said, for the ladies, together we are unstoppable. We need to remember that. We need to stick together. But when she says, now is not the time to be silent, she said, find your purpose, pursue it relentlessly. She said, passionately, and be persistent and win. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we don't think, as far as ladies together, we don't think to say those things to encourage each other. Right. And so when I listen to Angela, sometimes I repeat certain things that she says because she's pro-woman and she's pro-sisterhood on all levels. And so that's why I chose her to highlight.
And
tonight.
I know we're running on time as far as women, but when you said she is well spoken, so something, again, because I love poetry and writing, what she writes is, incredible, not just empowering, but she is a very deep soul, not even on an acting level, just on a real level, and the epitome and forerunner of class. You couldn't have picked a better word, but her writings are beautiful.
Yes. And I want to say this. I saw her and her husband in an interview most recently, Courtney B. Vance. Mm-hmm. And she said, skip all the Oscars in essence, because her marriage and her family has been one of the greatest successes in her life. You know, she said the Oscar would be good, but she wouldn't trade her personal life. Yeah. In essence, I'm not saying it verbatim, but she gave the essence that because her and Courtney B. Vance have been married for over 20, nearly 30-something years, and out
of drama.
Yeah,
you don't.
Yeah,
you
and they
don't
stay
hear
out the way.
Right.
And that's one of the things.
Right.
She credit to their successes that they don't let outside entities into their environment other than work. And I think they only have 2 children together. And beautiful. But she can. That's another success that we don't see, that people don't credit success.
I love her. So those were my 2.
Yeah. I just want to give, before we go local out of here, and I know you want to go, we were talking local, and this is, you got to see local as it is. And when we first talked about it, I said, this is one woman that should be recognized. And I've encountered her, but I don't know her, but she, in Fort Wayne, her name is Janois Wilson Brabson. Yes. Janois Wilson Brabson was the first black, white, whatever woman that was a firefighter in the city of Fort Wayne. And she excelled, and she became, the president of the African American Fire Association. She has done so much, but I just wanted to give something local to somebody, because sometimes it's not all that you do, but what you do and who sees you do what you do.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
She can tell somebody, some young brown girl in her community, you can be whatever you want to be.
That's right. That's beautiful. I'm glad you said that, because
Good mention.
Yeah, because I remember hearing that a long time ago. But isn't it sad that we let certain stories die?
Yeah.
And these are the things that we need to be sharing with our children, not just black children, but our children.
Just tell women that you can be anything,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, so, like I said, women's history it continues. So each day we're making history. And so we just want to say thank you for hanging with us and joining us tonight. We don't have our E here to remind us to keep our beautiful minds and to stay strong and all that good stuff. But I do want to say this and remind you once again, as Angela Bassett said, now is not the time to be silent. We all need to use our voice. And tonight, thank you for joining Neutral Voices. And as we always say,
always protect your mind.
Your mind.
Protect your mind. Thank
All
you.
together
See you
now.
next time.
Good night.